Hey, what's up, guys? This is MMTJ here, and I'm interrupting our normal, regularly scheduled videos, the ones we normally do, to tell you guys a little story about something that has happened to me recently. So, recently, me and my girlfriend went to the doctor, and she took an HIV/AIDS test, and I myself got tested as well. Now, what made this particularly jarring for me was this was my first time getting tested ever. And let me tell you, that was the scariest thing I've gone through today. Even scarier than a car crash I went through 2 years ago. It was scary for me because in the past I've had unprotected sex with multiple partners. There were times where I did use condoms, but they were few and far between. And with my current girlfriend, she's always gotten tested, and she made that a ritual to do so to ensure that there was never any question about her health or where she stood as far as that was concerned. So coming to the relationship with her, she already knew where she stood, and even though I hadn't gotten tested, I assumed that I was okay, and I just told her, I'm fine too, I don't have anything. It wasn't until like way later that a past sexual partner contacted me and told me that I may have given her an STD. To be more specific, trichomoniasis. Now, this is the first time that any woman has brought something like this to my attention. So, upon hearing what she told me, it knocked me off my foundation. It was something that just completely just floored me. And and at that point, I never got tested, so I really couldn't say that I didn't give it to her. I couldn't say with the utmost certainty that I didn't give her anything. So that just made the feeling even more intense. So when I informed my girlfriend about this, she was too shocked for words as well. And that same day, we both went to the doctor's office and got tested. And let me tell you, it it wasn't easy being there. To sit in that office, to sit in that chair and think about if I did have an STD and gave it to someone else, along with the thought of possibly having AIDS or HIV and giving it to someone I care about as well. You know, all the what ifs that were going through my mind, it was just too much to bear. And I'm not ashamed to admit this. I couldn't hold back anymore, and I just broke down crying right in the office. The thought of having STDs along with AIDS, HIV, and any other disease, and having to be on antibiotics for the rest of my life. It was not a fun thought, to say the least. And what was even more nerve-wracking than being in the office that day was the wait for the results afterwards. Those next 5 days, I always had that in the back of my mind, the what ifs. What would be my next step if things turned out bad? It was a suspenseful time indeed. We took the test on a Friday, and they told us that we would get the results back on a Wednesday. And they also said that as far as the results were concerned, they will be done one of two ways. If there was nothing wrong, an email would be sent. If things if things were wrong, then a call would be made. So Wednesday came, and I will never ever forget that day as long as I live. I was sitting in the parking lot of our local grocery store, checking my just sitting there just checking my email 5 minutes, just hoping and praying that I got the news that I wanted. I got that all important email that I have been waiting 5 suspenseful, nerve-wracking ass days to get. So I kept refreshing my email, and my email nothing came up, and then I got a phone call, and surely enough, it was the doctor's office that I got my testing done at. And like just seeing that number pop up on my caller ID, my heart sank. I I was just sitting there thinking, oh my God, this just couldn't be happening. I almost didn't want to answer the phone because I just didn't want to hear. I just didn't want to hear the bad news. But I knew I had to. I knew that you know this is something that I needed to hear in order for me to go ahead and take the necessary precautions to go ahead and be sure that this doesn't kill me. So I picked up the phone and I talked to the doctor, and she said that we got your test results back, and I'm pleased to inform you that all your results came back negative. And I had to do a double take. I had to. You know, I asked her very slowly and calmly, everything is negative. I have nothing. I am clean. And she said, yes, Mr. Griggs, you're all clear. And I swear, after hearing those words, I felt like that. I felt like I could fly. You know, I swear I felt like I could just go ahead and go to the moon. That's how much of a weight and a burden I felt was lifted off of me, and that air of doubt just disappeared. Like, this was the best news I've ever gotten in my life, hands down. Now, prior to this, I told my mom that I went and got tested because of what happened beforehand. And, I played a little joke on her because I got the news while she was in the store because I was waiting for her to come out. And I didn't tell her until we got back. Now, what I did was, and in looking back at it, maybe it wasn't the best thing seeing the seriousness of the situation, where I told her I got my test results back, and I told her that I was positive. And I will never forget the look on her face when I told her that. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was, "No, you're not. You you can't be. That's not possible." And at that point, I was like, you know what? Let me just stop joking and just tell her, you know what? Nope, I'm just joking. The docs called me. They told me that I'm fine. They told me that my girlfriend's fine. We don't have anything to worry about. We're both good. And you know, we hugged, and she was so happy that she just started crying, and in turn that made me shed a few tears. My brother was there as well. Me and him hugged because it was just such good news. I was just overwhelmed with joy and happiness knowing that the worst did not happen. And it was just a huge relief. It was a huge relief indeed. And the one thing from the beginning of this whole ordeal that I said I was going to do if things turned out well was make this video. Not just to explain what happened, but also to explain how important it is to be safe and get tested. This event here has really brought me back down to earth and showed me my mortality and how it really feels to go through something like this. Guys, it's not worth it to fool around with your health and well-being along with someone else's health and well-being. This has really shown me how important it is to get tested and to always remain safe. And this is a message that I want to put across to anyone who is viewing this video. It's not worth your health to have sexual encounters without the use of a condom. To some people this may be common sense, but to some people out there, they may think that, they might be indestructible. They don't have to do it. Well, I'm telling you, no. Because you don't want to go ahead and have those same feelings that I did when I sat in the office and thought that I may have gotten an STD or I may have got AIDS or HIV or anything else. It's not a good feeling to have. It's something that it will mentally and physically take a toll on you. That's something that you do not want to put yourself through. It's not worth it. In my case, things turned out for the better, but if things hadn't, then you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I come to you not as the goofy commentator you've been hearing in the past, but as a genuine human being. I know that sometimes it's very tempting to go ahead and, you know, just be like, fuck it, you want to parlay in the bush without any protection. And at times you will give in. I gave in. You know, we all have moments of weakness. But I beg of anyone that if you're having those thoughts, just think about what you could be subjecting yourself to. Not only the threat of diseases, but also pregnancy. You don't want to put your health and well-being on the table and roll snake eyes. That's just something you don't want to do. It's not worth the risk. So, to everyone out there who is sexually active or is thinking about being sexually active, always use protection or at least try. And this is something that I want everybody to put into practice as well. Always get yourself tested regularly. It's best to know the truth rather than live your life not knowing where you stand as far as your sexual health is concerned or your primary health is concerned in general. So that's all I really want to go ahead and tell you guys. So once again, I'm fine. Everything's fine on my end. But overall, guys, just don't take the risk. It's not worth it. So to all, I say be safe. Have a good day. Peace out.